right, welcome back to D&D. So, last time, you had just arrived at the last layer of this dungeon you've been asked to clear out, starting a while ago, where you had to go in and just make sure everything was clear for this recently excavated area of the Starwell Magic School. Didn't expect to find this under here, I imagine. And getting down to the last level, you were immediately hit with a wave of heat. Find yourself on this kind of large lava plain with a city in the distance. Got attacked while you were making your way in, at which point you managed to get to the city itself, where you were immediately confronted by a number of imps who brought you to these four obviously fiendish characters who just introduced themselves. So we leave off with you having just found these people. What would you all like to do?
Four fiends, you say?
Mm-hmm. And I'll give you a quick rundown. So one person, one of the fiends, is medium-sized. You can see that he has wings, very well dressed, very much like a noble. Is wearing some armor, just a breastplate over, but he is very obviously it's a very rich, well dressed person. Next to him is even more wealthy and well dressed with a number of jewels upon him. An older, aristocratic looking fellow. There is a giant, large woman. She's very tall, taller than even a Goliath. She has horns, and her hands are these kind of claws, and she has a kind of stinger tail. And next to her is this, like, even larger, more brutish looking creature who isn't even resembling a human. Just a very kind of grotesque animal, saliva dripping from like this large open mouth, just lined with these razor sharp teeth, large twisted horns on this kind of strange fur covered body. Mm-hmm. So
Piffle whispers to Graham, "Are they friendly?"
Yeah, I mean, yeah. We got invited in here by them, and I don't remember if we were going to talk about something.
Eaten or not?
Say what?
I think
Did they invite us in here to eat us, or?
I think we got the impression when we got here that this is basically for show because the imps are terrified of them.
Oh yeah.
All right. Next question. Are there any loose valuables around?
make a perception check.
Nothing good happens when you make a perception check. Let's see.
Deception.
Not that you can see. The city is very hot, especially with the whole lava river kind of running nearby. The waves of the air from the extreme heat make it very difficult to kind of see around you. Just also the smoke kind of stings your eyes a little bit.
Ow, my eyes.
And Fiffle's actually probably doing better than other people who are standing taller. He's actually standing a little bit lower where it's cooler.
Trying to remember. I guess if we haven't, Graham will just do the usual introductions.
The older, very well-dressed, aristocratic-looking man speaks up. pleasure to make your acquaintance. I am Zamak. My associates here, he points to the man with the wings and the kind of well-dressed in the armor. This is my friend Tavon. Our associate here with the stinger tail is Skarkinza. And the more unorthodox looking gentleman associated with us is Alrorves. I can probably. Where did I put that? Alrorves. Welcome to our city. We hope to make your acquaintance. Do you care to introduce yourselves?
Well, my name's Graham. Pleasure to meet you.
I see. Wonderful. And your other associates?
I'm Otto.
Ah, Sir Otto.
And I think Lena's here, but Lena will introduce herself. Fern will.
Ah, yes. Hello, Lena. I'll just give a quick recap. We just started a few minutes ago. Oh no, I can't.
Hello.
Ah. And yes, and the two short ones. He points to the halfling.
Sorry, what?
Why, we're just exchanging names, of course.
Oh, I'm Mickey. Mickey Rat Sauce.
Fiffle, yes, wonderful.
I'm Fern. This is Aurora.
Pleasure to make your acquaintance.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what brings you down to our city here?
Well, academic interest.
The quest for more money.
And that too.
Pure ideals like knowledge and truth. That's why I am here.
We're getting paid for it. We're exploring underneath the college.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, we've been here a bit ourselves, have quite a bit of knowledge to share. Would you be interested in hearing some interesting thoughts between us?
Possibly.
The large beast creature just kind of stands up and just slams these large fists on the table. I've been patient enough. Get on with it! The smiling aristocratic man kind of looks around. Yes, yes. We've been here quite some time, and we're interested in returning to our own homes. Summoned here by a fiendish researcher and his elven associate.
Oh, that sounds familiar.
Yes. Well, the researcher himself, long since perished. The elf, I could not say. And us, here, trapped. So, why don't we come to a deal and see if we can find ourselves in a mutually beneficial deal, perhaps?
I'm open to it. And, what were you thinking?
Oh, no. A little too soon for that. Here, let us partake of a few drinks.
Probably best not to.
What?
I'm gonna insight. Because we didn't like their vibe before, if I remember right.
Okay, that's a good insight check. Let me Well, I figure. Yep. Okay.
I too will insight. I can freaking click that damn button. I'm having issues today.
He is, as far as you're aware, he seems perfectly reasonable. He doesn't seem to be giving any odd vibes. He really does seem like he's interested in making a deal, but simply does not want to discuss it yet, as he is probably just attempting to kind of butter you up a bit. He reminds you as more of a kind of benign noble you've met before.
Mm. Well, might as well sit and get to know each other a minute.
Yes, please, come. Kind of snaps his fingers, and very quickly some imps bring by some trays, kind of pour out some wine, or at least it looks like wine. Drink, enjoy. I must say it's quite hard to source grapes down here.
So deep underground, it's easier to plane shift to acquire grapes, I'm sure.
Yes. Yes, it is.
So where do you get the grapes?
I simply have my imps take care of it.
Ah,
I have people for that.
I'll drink his fiend wine.
Okay. The drink itself, very, very rich, very fine wine. You definitely have had wine as fine as this before. It's certainly something that has had a lot of care and quality into it. Give me a Constitution save, please.
I guess you're at a +5. Hang on. Yeah, can I get a halfer on that?
A halfer.
Yes, go ahead.
17.
Otto, you are not even buzzed. The wine simply is very well made, tastes very good, very high quality wine. You do not feel any effects on your body at this time.
Oh boy, I don't like the way you said that.
So, if you can plane shift, you're still stuck here?
Well, we can't. Hence why we need your assistance.
Right.
The large beast creature just... Cut the fancy talking, just tell them! The smiling man kind of looks at him, looks back to you. Yes, so, many years ago, we were summoned here and trapped in the city by the fiendish researcher, and have been here ever since. The way he summoned us has since passed by, but the elvish mage had put a little extra security upon the measure. So, unfortunately, the four of us are trapped here. Unless we can come to an agreement.
Agreements are our specialty. We're very agreeable.
Well, we all hold the power to return home. 3 of us. One has to stay behind permanently.
Interesting.
And so you can see, with the 4 of us here, we have yet to come to that agreement.
And where do we come into that?
Why? The arbiters, of course, deciding whether or not who should stay and who should go. We have so many things we could offer you. quite powerful, knowledgeable, wealthy.
Go on.
The well-armored man kind of stands up. I actually have quite a few fires cooking in the material realm here that I need to get back to. If I can return home and then leave this city to back to my actual projects, I could reward you quite heavily. And I could even have some agents send you some money right away. Why, you decided in my favor, I could have you in your own mansion by this time next week.
All right. This guy gets my vote.
This is some to the fairest shit.
You knew that was happening a long time ago.
Let's see. So we adjudicate, and I assume whoever stays behind isn't going to be very happy about it.
I would imagine not.
We're going to have to fight whoever stays behind.
But we also have many things. The kind of large woman with the horns and the stinker tail speaks up. You should consider voting for me. Why, Otto, I hear tell that you have a lost wife.
You know how long I've been waiting for this one, actually?
I could simply assist you in going down to the plains and returning safe and sound. I have a lot of influence down there. I could easily make sure that you can go.
Well, we know
Find
who
your
I'm
wife?
voting for, just so you guys know.
The kind of large bestial creature stands up. If you don't vote for me, I'm going to rip your skull open. I'll pull out
I
your
appreciate
heart.
the honesty.
I appreciate his honesty.
I'll bite off your head. I'll rip you limb from limb one at a time so you can feel it. And I'll stick you in the lava so you can cook right through.
At least you're thinking about food safety.
Oh, God.
While you're all discussing this, you hear a kind of loud voice that carries very well, and from the stairs up here, you see a woman descend from above as she kind of walks down the stairs. This woman appears to be an Azamar. However, she has this kind of divine presence around her. You can see a glowing kind of halo behind her head. She is wearing extremely heavy armor, but it's very practical. It does not appear as finely crafted, but it certainly looks like it would be able to survive a fight. It does not appear as if it has suffered any damage at all. As she ascends the stairs, she just says to you, "Consider their words carefully. They are not to be trusted."
Who are you?
Yeah, I've been waiting to hear a catch in all this.
I'm the Celestial Einril. I've been sent by the gods to observe the dealings here.
Can I insight that as well?
Yes, go ahead. She appears to be telling the truth, but you sense a certain bitterness behind her voice.
So, where do you enter into all of this?
An observer. Not an arbiter, as you have been tasked to be by these ones. My job is to simply ensure that they are returned to where they need to be safely, as their very presence is disruptive to the actual celestial order. Fortunately, they've been trapped here, so they can't make too much trouble. However, through their agents, they've been quite adept at causing difficulties along the material plane.
So, have you been here watching them the whole time?
700 years, yes.
I infer you might also want to be done with this business. Am I wrong?
You are not.
Right.
Well, I think we decide which one we would prefer to be eaten by, and he's the one that has to stay. Right?
Don't make a choice so soon. They're here because they're dangerous. The one you leave behind will be difficult to subdue.
Yeah.
The large kind of creature says, "All right, you want a deal? I can make a deal with you. I have the Chaos Blade. You want it? It's yours. If you vote for me."
Yeah, Tom.
This is the one that threatened, right?
Show us this Chaos Blade.
It's nice. A little toothpick to me, but it changes the damage it does. Hits good. Does some extra damage. Nice weapon. Think you might like it. And there's only one of them.
Hmm.
The kind of smiling aristocrat looks to you.
The one
My-
that's why y'all give us the Chaos Blade. So far so good.
Yes, my associate, a demon, but he's learned the art of being a devil while with us. I fear we've rubbed off on him a little bit. But don't make your choice yet. Think about it. Stay, discuss amongst yourselves. We'll be retiring to our own quarters of the cities. And he kind of stands up and he approaches you, Graham, and he just kind of whispers, "And be aware of the Einril one. She has her own agenda."
Noted. Y'all have a good night now. We'll do some talking amongst ourselves.
Of course. Snaps his fingers. Imps, take them to some rooms, the finest we have available. A group of imps kind of like stop by and like hover in front of you. "If you come with us, take you to the rooms, yes?"
Well,
How
thank
do
you.
were they privy to that conversation? Or did they just kind of show up?
Uh,
The
They were
imps.
here.
the imps have been hovering around.
All right. What's their demeanor based off of what was said there? Do they look scared, terrified?
You ever
Can you
see
tell?
like a little tiny dog that's shaking,
Yeah.
like a
Can
little
you,
chihuahua, like that?
Aw.
can you tell if they favor one over the other?
They make an insight check.
That's a good idea. May I make one?
Yes.
Nah.
All
Oh,
right.
hey, you got all the insights today.
They got a good one by that 19, but yeah, 26 there. The imps seem to be rather scared of all four of them. The older noble fellow looks to be the one giving them the most orders, however, as he's the one who's been kind of like snapping his fingers, ordering them around. But they do seem to be putting a rather wide berth between the four of them and doing their best to kind of stay out of reach.
Okay.
Come along to the room now, please. We bring you to where you need to go. Good quarters. Soft mattress.
Mm. Only the finest feathers for Graham, right?
So,
Pulled from Goosekin.
oh no.
Don't scream too loud once you cut the throat.
Right. So I have a question for you. Presume you've been waiting on these fellas for a while now.
We come and go, yes.
Well, good news, bad news is at the end of this, you'll probably be free, whoever we pick.
Good.
And to that end, it might behoove us to make sure we're making the right choice. You understand me?
Any choice is the right and wrong choice.
Yeah, I gathered. How about what they're offering us? What's the catch?
Couldn't say it, they didn't tell me. Simply
Hmm.
tell me what to do. Keep their thoughts to themselves. Don't write anything down. May need to question them a bit if you want some additional information. Didn't hear that from me, though.
Of course not. All right, well.
Celestial one might help too. She's scary, though. Don't like her.
What's her deal?
Sent down here, angel made mortal-ish. Not particularly pleased. Probably thought this would get solved a lot sooner. The other ones that came before were not best at choosing.
See, whenabouts was that?
Okay, no more, can't say. Rooms are here. Please enjoy.
Hmm.
Brings you to these. The rooms themselves are in these kind of stone quarters. The room is sparse. There is a bed, a table, chair, a dresser. The room is cool compared to the rest of the city, as it is farther away from the heat, and something appears to be done, maybe magical, maybe just something with the architecture, but it is definitely able to vent out more of the heat and remain a nice, pleasant temperature.
Neat.
4 rooms next to each other. Please enjoy. Just call for Imp if you need Imp.
Right, will do. Thank you.
You're welcome. He seems almost surprised at the thank you.
Yeah. I don't like any of this. Well, let's. It turns to Otto. We're definitely leaning toward the one who offered you help toward your wife, but we're gonna have to do our due diligence on that to make sure that we don't get an even worse deal than the one I'm expecting.
Mm, Based off of dealing with fiends, do I know that do I feel like we need to get them to her to agree with us, like contractually, considering the remember the other one that you had follows around, Ian?
Yeah, make a history check.
I will make one
to
as
do
well.
it.
Okay. Yep.
Yay.
Wow, that's actually kind of high for me.
Yeah, based on your knowledge of
Anya, nice too.
based on Anya kind,
Yeah,
but you're very close. Based on your knowledge of dealing with her, and actually, Graham, if you would like, you're able to make a religion roll just because this is your specialty.
Yay.
Yeah. Graham, based upon your knowledge and Otto based upon your knowledge of the history, you typically would like to make a contract with them. They did mention that one of their 4 is a demon who typically don't make contracts.
I think was that the one with the chaos blade?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Fittingly enough.
And Graham, you also, that religion role, I mean, you actually have a servant of the gods among you. This is actually a rather unique opportunity.
I was thinking about that. This is kind of above our usual pay grade by a considerable margin.
I would say it's been above our pay grade since we got recruited to an adventurer's life. Let me see. I'm trying to think here. Do I get the feeling that they also might be trying to influence our decision without us actually talking to them?
Make an insight check. You don't really feel that they are doing that right now. You sort of get the idea that they've been here so long that they have some sort of long game going on, is what you would suspect.
Okay.
And also that 700 years is a long time material plane wise, but for a devil or a demon or even just a fiend in general, it's not necessarily a tremendous amount of time.
Right. Okay. Would that insight also cause me to think, would they eavesdrop on us to see if what we're actually going to decide? To see if they're going to be the one that has to stay?
You're not able to tell exactly, although you are able to sort of remember that they did seem to have a lot of more information about you than you offered initially.
Yep, I did notice that.
Oh, hey, we have our chalkboard. Still, I assume.
Yeah, you do.
Sure.
They did not take away a chalkboard from you.
In the spirit of not actually talking this out through, since I'm now paranoid thanks to Graham.
Oh, about them listening in?
Yep. I guess I would just assume that they're gonna try to. I'll just write. I think they will try to influence us at some point, and we're gonna end up fighting, probably in a scuffle with the one that has to stay. Also, you're writing I don't think I have to say anything to know which one I am siding with mostly directly.
Yeah. We just need to verify that it's actually a good, you'll get what you're promised.
Contract.
The angel being here and having an angle is also something to figure out.
Yeah. Would we be able to interact with this angel at our leisure?
You can certainly go and see if you'd like. Also, Otto and Graham, and actually even Fiffle and Fern, yeah, you all hear some kind of fluttering wings from outside the door.
Graham will check the door.
How do you check the door?
I'm gonna open it.
As you open it, you catch a imp kind of shocked, kind of clutch eye to the roof, the ceiling there, and as you open the door, kind of in shock and surprise, it just kind of flutters away as quick as it can.
No, I will channel divinity. The wisdom check. It's not going anywhere.
It has to make a wisdom save.
I believe so. Hang on. Once it decides to share it with you. Top one. Abjure.
All right.
It's a fiend, right? So it's at disadvantage.
Yes, it is. Let me do that again. Yep. Wow. Didn't roll very well. The imp kind of immediately just stuck in position, all just so frightened it is unable to move.
Let's get him in here.
Graham just kind of brings him in, not all that roughly, but now, please don't be as psychotic as the devils and demons. This guy's already got a day job.
No. Well, I'm gonna straight up ask him, what was that about?
Just can't say. Just seeing if you wanted anything.
Yeah. Which one do you answer directly to?
All four.
I'm gonna insight. I'm not gonna roll.
I will insight also all of that.
Appears to be telling the truth.
Are you here out of your own curiosity or on one of their behalf?
I can't say. Just told to keep an eye out for everything.
How terrified does he look right now?
Pretty terrified, you would say.
I'm gonna ask him the same question again with a little more of a menacing aura on him. So I guess that's an intimidation.
Mm-hmm.
Of course.
All right, he is going to attempt to.
I mean, he's absolutely.
He is. You're able to really get a good intimidate. You're able to very much get your presence and kind of tower over him. That being said, even with that, he is not really that. He doesn't appear to be scared of you. He still appears to be scared, but not. It seems that what has scared him is scarier than what you're able to do.
Yeah, that sounds about right for demons.
He's scared of he's got to report to.
Can I go now?
I'll let Graham make that decision. Wait, how does he go? It's been a minute already?
Well, yeah, he
I
dragged
think
him.
he's just.
Yeah, he wants to leave. He doesn't know how long your thing lasts for.
All right. Tell the rest would like a little privacy, if you would.
Yes. Good message. Tell them that. Goodbye.
Ta-ta. That Missouri ta-ta.
After, it's probably been about a minute now. So, yeah, he's able to, he kind of quickly, flies through the door and out of your sight.
Chalkboards?
Chalkboards.
Chalkboards. They keep saying chalkboards. What's that mean?
Make an entire language out of it, like the Vault of Gary.
Haha, Gary.
That was an intimidating chalkboard. What does it mean? All right, in chalkboard language, I guess I'll communicate. I think we need to work with the fiends. We can bind them to a contract to help us, so they can't go back on their word. What was it? Is it a demon or is it a devil?
Devils, are lawful evil. Demons are chaotic evil.
Okay, so the guy with the chaos blade is a demon.
Fittingly enough.
Yeah. I feel I get a feeling he's gonna be a problem no matter what, and we're gonna end up with some kind of altercation anyway.
It's not 700 years is a long time for us. It's not all that long for them.
I know, but if we let's say we chose him to stay, he fulfills his pact to them. We have a contract with them. They help us once we get to hell. He's probably just going to turn on us after he sends us. He's going to be pissed. Or on the imps.
I think there's
all of
something
them.
else going on behind this.
That's with what we know. That's how I think it's gonna
Hmm.
turn out. We probably need to talk to Asimar lady,
Yeah.
to Dame Aelin.
Inspired by, but not directly Dame Aelin.
I know. Yeah, that's what I got. Obviously, I wrote all of that down.
Yep.
Anybody else got ideas?
Not.
In the corner, Fern is just like flipping her guns, practicing her shooting.
Hmm.
Yeah, how does Fern and Fiffle feel about this?
About what specifically?
The whole situation, or at least what Graham and Otto are discussing.
I just walked away for a second.
Oh, yeah, they're discussing who they should vote on to stay.
Okay, same topic. I don't have any uh, further thoughts really. The one who wants to pay us money up front, obviously, I am in favor of. Helping save Otto's wife is a long-time goal that I'm not in favor of. Um, the Chaos Blade. Somebody wanted us to find the Chaos Blade.
It was definitely Rami, but he's not here, and I think it's a long sword anyway, so I would probably get a use out of it.
I mean, we're also picking who stays behind, which means in theory we would get the boons of the ones who go, not just pick the only one.
Yeah, so the three that go, we would get the things out of. The
Mm-hmm.
one that stays might be really pissed off and try to
Will
stab us.
probably try to kill us.
Yeah.
If
Well,
if
we don't
this
care
is
about
all
the
on the
Chaos
level,
Blade.
I think there's something else going on. And I do think we want to talk to the Celestial.
Yeah, we do want to talk to the Celestial.
Okay. All right. So what are you all doing now?
I guess might be a good idea to. Do we want to get a rest in first? How rested are we? I could stand to get some hit dice back. I'm okay on spells though. I guess let's go talk to the angel,
Yeah,
or you know what I mean.
let's do that.
Okay. All right. Well, you leave your room. You don't see any imps around.
I'm gonna do a perception anyway.
Okay.
16.
Um, in
I'll
this
take
area, you don't see any imps. You see like a spider on the wall, kind of in a cobweb, and that's about it.
Hmm.
This hallway you're in is actually pretty devoid of life. Or something at least resembling life.
Hmm. Well, I guess let's head back the way we came.
Okay. As you exit the hallway until at the larger opening of the actual city itself, you immediately feel the heat again. And you can also see the kind of dozens of imps kind of like floating around, hovering, flying, or just climbing over the walls. funny enough, they actually do seem to be almost creating a mimicry, you would say, of like city life. As you do see one imp who apparently is kind of manning a stall with what appears to be stone kind of carved into almost what appears to be food shaped. Certain imps are exchanging small little humps of coal for his imaginary food. As you exit out, however, some of the imps do see you. One of them kind of lands in front. You wish to see anyone? I've ordered to take you to whoever you ask.
Yeah, take us back to the angel lady.
She's scary. I don't like her, but I'll take you. Uh, Far enough, at least. Follow me, please.
Right.
It kind of like leads you up into the kind of courtyard you were at previously. However, the four that you had seen before no longer there, as they have retired to their own quarters. He leads you up the staircase to a large open area. You see a giant kind of forging section. You do see a large anvil, too large to be used as for any practical purpose. Appears to be more of a decoration, or possibly a dedication to maybe a dwarven god. If you'd like, you can make a religion roll to determine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Foot. Do I get the halfling nod?
Oh yeah.
Aha.
And it does seem religious in nature. You're pretty familiar with a lot of the dwarven gods. You've actually are working with somebody who's been cursed by one of them.
Oh yeah.
This anvil is older, and you're not able to quite identify who it's dedicated to. It's possible that it's a very old religious symbol dedicated to somebody currently around, or possibly an older, forgotten dwarven deity. You are not actually sure. But you do also see a number of dwarven runes around, as well as the large statue right in the middle there, standing some good 30, 40 feet high with a large hammer. This person, the statue actually dwarfs, amusingly, the anvil to the point where it would be impractical for him to use it. It would be too small. If it was, anything other than a statue. The imp then takes you to a kind of small room in a alcove. The door itself, stone, similar to what you've seen previously, looks very kind of barren. He looks around, kind of side to side. In there, knock, knock. And then inside, yes, goodbye. Call if needed. Just snap fingers, I come. At which point he just kind of almost blinks out and then is gone.
Right.
But yes, there's a stone door leading to a room directly in front of you. What would you like to do?
Knock on the door, I guess.
Seems safe.
You hear from within. You may enter.
Graham goes in.
Door opens up. Inside is a very sparsely furnished room. Really, all that you see is a small kind of bit of bedding, not even on a frame, just on the ground, and a pillow. Sitting on the pillow, meditating in the center, kind of just on her knees, you see Einel. I thought I'd be seeing you again. How may I help you?
Howdy. Well, Are you under any other kind of compulsion to stay here?
Beyond the orders of my superiors in the Celestial Order?
Mm-hmm.
No. I'd be breaking my orders if I left, but nothing magically keeping me here. That being said, if I did leave without completing my duties, I would not be able to return to my celestial form and remain as a mortal Azamar.
Hmm.
And even
Are there any
worse,
restrictions on what you can talk to us about?
I can talk to you about many things. I have no obligation to lie to you or to deny you any knowledge. However, as a security precaution, many of my memories were faded. So I do not have my full divine knowledge.
Hmm. How about specifically within these guys?
The four there, I can tell you as much as I both remember and observed. Ask and I shall answer.
Uh, so, what's what's the real angle here? Are they really just trying to get home, or is that something else or something alongside?
They desire to return to their actual area of existence. They have many dealings upon the material plane, as far as I was able to ascertain. However, trapped here within the walls of the city, they are unable to leave. They must simply work through others as opposed to being able to return themselves. And for the politics and the games that there are within the lower planes, they are completely outside of it, which has not been beneficial for them.
Gotcha. Hmm.
Of the four, don't trust any of them. Beware, you are always under observation. When you think you are alone, you are not. With the exception of this room, of course.
Hmm. I see. How about you?
What about me?
Tell me more about your aims in all this, aside from getting back to your own home.
My aims are quite simple. I wish to return to my actual angelic celestial form, as I cannot age, I cannot suffer disease. However, I am quite mortal. If I were to die here, I would remain dead. A sacrifice that I believe I willingly made. I cannot say for sure, as that memory was stripped from me when I returned here for the first time.
So, it won't surprise you to learn that we were warned you've got your own agenda.
Oh, and fascinating. Who warned you?
Of course, but the question remains, there's more to this going on than we're aware of.
There always is. That being said, if you were warned by one of the four down below, be aware that they do lie. They lie like they breathe. In fact, I think they would lie even if it didn't necessarily benefit them, as it is within their very nature. I mean, quite literally.
Fair. But I could tell you were pretty agitated when we were discussing the deal.
Hmm? Yes. Well, I've been down here for 700 years. I don't remember too much about being an actual immortal celestial being, but imagine you were forced to leave your home, perfection itself, and enter into an area of burning hot magma, separated from your associates, colleagues, friends, family, and you've been down there quite some time, you might feel a bit put off.
Graham's gonna nod, and I'm gonna insight that.
Go ahead.
Yay!
That appears to be the truth. As far as you can tell, you don't get any sense of deception from her. She really does seem like she is simply fed up with being stuck down here. You also get the feeling, however, that she is not herself aware of the full picture and is aware of that fact.
So what can you tell us about the last people who came down here and chose poorly?
That was a unfortunateness. Some strange creatures, humanoid in appearance, their bodies were altered through some sort of magical means to have animal traits. Not like the Haragon that joins you, but they came here. They were offered very much in the way of knowledge, and I am not actually privy to what happened, as I was not down below at the time. I simply warned them, returned to my room, and when I next came out to observe, they were gone. I did not see if they were killed. I did not see if they were sent somewhere else. They simply were no longer here. It's entirely possible that there was a deal offered and it was decided that the price was too high or too dangerous to take, and so they simply left. I hope you're not too intimidated by them. The four below can threaten, insult, mock, but they are not actually able to harm you unless you attempt to harm them first. I mean that in a very physical way.
Right.
They could
But,
still manipulate you if you let them. An effect of the summoning ritual that brought them here that they are chafing against.
What? I might have missed this. What keeps them from harming us physically?
The summoning ritual that brought them here that was done by the... They refuse to say his name, but the fact is, it's Keegan. I'm not sure if you've heard of the man.
Oh, yeah. We're familiar.
Yes. He is a researcher from the Arwellan Empire. He was joined by some elven mage who was able to assist him with the actual ritual. Normally, a summoning ritual would bring a infernal fiend up from the lower planes to the material plane, and they've remained for a time of an hour, minute, or even a full day. Maybe a bit longer, but they typically are not forced to stay. Crexon, however, was able to alter the ritual in a way that even when the initial summoning faded, it would lock them here. Intelligent in the fact that it was able to use their own nature against them. They will not sacrifice themselves for the benefit of others, which is exactly what is required for them to leave.
So, can they be forced to sacrifice by us because we're outside of it, or would they have to assent to being sacrificed and this is all for nothing anyway?
I could not say for sure. I imagine there is some mechanism to force this, but that is beyond my knowledge and memories. All I know is that the various gods, both good, neutral, and evil, have dispatched me here to deal with this, as far as I remember at least.
Would you be able to tell if your memories had been modified twice?
Well, no. Not really. Typically, attempting to modify somebody's memories and have them determined would require a contradiction, and so far I haven't noticed any contradictions. However, my memories beyond just the barest feelings and sensations have been completely stripped away from me. I do have quite a bit still. I could tell you a very decent amount of certain religious natures. I could tell you very much about the actual dealings in the lower planes with fiends, devils, and demons. But I could not tell you anything about my home. I couldn't tell you what I remember of the people I know. I simply know that I exist down here to ensure that they are under observation and that my memories have been stripped away from me as a sort of precaution. The fiends below were able to somehow bring me to the lower planes. All my memories of my celestial upper planes would be at their mercy.
What about if they're bound here by being sacrificed or needing to sacrifice for someone else? What would happen if you were sacrificed to send all of them back? Because they're dangerous. We don't want them here either. And would that fulfill the terms of your mission and send you back home?
If I was sent, or if I was forced to stay here, I would most likely have to remain here forever. Or at worst, I would be trapped within the city forever. I suppose if I was the one who was used as the sacrifice instead, I would most likely remain mortal. I was not bound by the ritual that brought them here and keeps them in the city. I would probably be able to actually leave. I would just remain as a mortal follower of the gods. Perhaps one day they could bring me back. I could not say for sure. They're powerful, but bound by certain rules that they themselves must follow.
What are the unknown unknowns here? What do we need to know that nobody's going to tell us that we need to find for ourselves?
If I will not hide any unknowns from you. If there are any unknowns, they are also unknown to me.
Damn.
It's a interesting position you're in, son of Eidos, but I wish you luck in it.
So here's a question. How did they know so much about us? They've at least been keeping tabs for a while, is the impression I got.
They still have their agents out and about. They're able to actually summon their own people here. These imps are summoned from the lower planes by them. Not permanently bound, of course. So they're free to come and go.
They're all terrified of the people here.
Oh,
I
yes.
suppose I would be too, but
If their physical form is destroyed, they return to the lower planes. However, in the lower planes, they're going to be able to be harmed permanently. And while they, for here, are trapped and unable to actually directly influence the politics of the lower planes, they are able to maintain connections through their agents, who are then able to act on their behalf down below, but it's limiting. They also have, as far as I'm able to determine, designs, at least a few of them, on the upper planes here, on the material plane. The demon, he is more interested in returning to the Blood Wars, but the other ones are perhaps more focused on their long-term goals.
yeah, got any inkling on those? The one mentioned he had a lot of dealings on the material. That's not good.
My understanding is that the one who refers to himself as the Infernal Commander Tarvun is dealing with manipulating politics among the various island princes. You may not necessarily be aware of the going ons there. I'm sure if you're from Viderheim, they're very far away. But just having a foothold among the material plane is not expected or desired.
What about the one offering to help us get into hell and rescue Otto's wife?
Oh, I have no doubt that she could do it. What would await you down there, I could not say for sure.
Yeah. Shit.
Well, I would certainly recommend whatever path you follow that you be cautious before treading it.
Yeah, that does seem prudent.
I know that seems very vague and not particularly helpful, but it's really all I can offer. If there are any violence that does come here, be aware that I will assist you to the best of my ability. The other thing to just keep in mind, if you destroy their physical form here, as they have found ways to do, they return to the lower planes to coalesce and then are immediately brought back here.
Gotcha.
Yes, they have not had any conscious thought outside of these walls for several centuries, as you can determine. And they also haven't been exactly the most stimulating conversation.
Yeah.
Well, I shouldn't say that. They've been very stimulating if you're willing to talk to somebody who would just lie constantly and attempt to manipulate you despite it not actually benefiting them in any way. Which is to say, it's been very difficult down here. It's honestly refreshing to talk to somebody who doesn't lie to you constantly.
So what can we trust about them? They know they need something from us, and they'll do whatever they can to get it, but that means they have to be honest about some things to get us towards what they want.
If you make a deal with them, I don't recommend an actual written deal, something that is solid. I would suggest you simply work off of a very fluid kind, one that you aren't necessarily beholden to, as they will attempt to get something on you that they can hold above your head.
How do we stop them from screwing us over if there aren't terms written?
That isn't necessarily doable. However, I would recommend losing a little amount so you do not lose a lot, even if you stand to gain nothing.
Right. It's a good thought, honestly. Shit. What are the odds on doing a little reconnoitering, kind of eavesdrop around the city? We'll be looked at everywhere we go, but is there any way we could get around that?
It's unlikely. Imps are their eyes and ears, and an imp is able to do many different things. It can turn invisible. It can transform itself into a number of different forms: rats, ravens, spiders. They probably have imps invisible within your room as at pretty much any time. They have this interesting tactic I've noticed when I first came here, where they attempt to send a imp who is not attempting to hide, who you attempt to interrogate, but ultimately reveals more information that is then overheard by a invisible imp. I hope they haven't pulled that trick yet.
No, they're working on it. So, what do you recommend? You've known these people for centuries now, whether you wanted to or not.
Well, three of them are reasonable enough to make a deal with. The larger one, however, is the most dangerous, physically speaking. And if he is freed from the kind of curse that keeps him here and prevents him from utilizing violence, he may be the most difficult to deal with. And once the three are gone, they have no real reason to help you, especially if you make a deal with them. If you're dead, they really don't owe you anything.
Hmm.
That being said, getting him below is necessarily not a bad idea. The three remaining aren't necessarily the most physically dangerous. They might not even necessarily attack you.
Hmm.
Now, if you want my advice for what I have to say, I would say just choose whichever three work the best for you so that I may leave. That's what I would do.
Hmm. Keep that in mind. Thank you.
I suppose the other thing to keep in mind is, and possibly not even necessarily a issue for you, could be, you were a child of Eidos. She points to Otto. You are a follower of the twin gods, Hyros and Zyros. Many different names, all from the same source. It's not impossible that the gods may be frown upon your choice, but it's difficult to say, as I cannot actually remember.
Hmm. I mean, what if we pick none of them at all? I feel like all of them would just up and kill us.
Oh, if you pick none, so long as you don't actually attack them, they can't physically harm you. That being said, they've disabled the teleporter back, and they each hold a focusing crystal for the Farcaster that would actually remove you from this location.
You reckon we could take them one at a time?
It's not necessarily impossible. I would not necessarily. The real problem, well, I am bound by my oaths to tell the truth. Very possibly, especially with my help, you could in fact fight them one at a time. I would still remain trapped here, however, as they would simply return to the Hells to coalesce, and once they've reformed, they would be snapped back here, still trapped, as I would still be forced to actually observe them.
Hmm. So that's not really an option if we want to get you out of here.
No, not really.
Hmm. Shit.
I suppose from a more greedy perspective, simply get as much from them as possible. If anything, that's probably the one thing they can be honest with you about.
Makes sense. All right. Thank you.
Well, I wish I could be further help. I can answer any more questions you have.
Do the imps know how to read?
Yes.
Confound it.
Yeah,
Chalkboards are fail.
I had a feeling.
They've
Speaking of
certainly.
feeling, I need to use the restroom.
Okay. Anyway,
Some of y'all
yes.
do some thinking. I can't be doing this. It's Sunday. I have no brain power left.
I don't know. What say you, son of Eidos? Or no, son of Hyros and Zyros. Specifically, you're a Hyros worshiper, if I were reading your religious symbology correctly.
I believe that's right. I don't remember, Ian.
Yes, that is correct. Hyros is retribution and law. Zyros is mercy and justice, but they are the twin gods of those.
I know. Well, I already know which one I would not want to stay.
The demon.
No, I don't want the one that would help me down there, but it's not guaranteed.
If you make a deal, they would have to follow it. What they attempt to do down there is a different story. If they offer to take you there safely and return you safely, that is something achievable. Anything in the middle is not something I could actually estimate, I suppose is a way to say it. The other thing is, they'll be willing to make a deal with you, but keep in mind anytime you actually make a deal with them, they will do their best not to uphold it. It's in their very nature. Although I have had some interesting thoughts about redeeming a demon. I know they're technically made of evil. However, I often thought about the ability to perhaps ascend them. Celestials can fall to the hells. I don't see why it could be done in reverse. I've actually written some interesting papers on it if you're interested. I haven't had a chance to discuss this with anybody for quite some time.
Ascending them, huh?
Yes.
Yeah, interesting. And how would that happen?
Well, I haven't had much luck yet. When I've talked to the four of them, they've been mostly interested in not agreeing, or if they do, I'm almost certain they're lying. They really seem to benefit from the simple fact that the four of them have formed a tenuous but unlikely alliance. And there's only one of me.
What do they gain by ascending? Like, if you had to appeal to their nature to ascend,
Oh,
then
that's
would their nature be canceled out once they ascend?
that is like hurting cats. Actually, it's far more difficult. They would need to simply stop acting in their very nature. They would have to. Well, there's an interesting thought. I mean, we look at the gods. The gods are run a gambit between very good and as evil as the devil itself. And celestials are the servants of all those gods, good, neutral, evil. I don't even remember who I worked for or served. Even it might have been all of them. I could have been assisting someone as good as maybe even Rhea, life and fertility, or maybe even somebody like Erst, who would be war and destruction. I couldn't say for sure. Which really, with the difficult lack of my memories, I can't actually determine that. I think it would require, however, at the very least, to give up a selfish nature and actually work for somebody else, to actually purposely put yourself in a position where you would be assisting somebody without expecting or desiring anything in return. For the simple fact that you would like to. I think that's where the main difficulty comes from. I suppose maybe getting the demon to ascend for Erst would be the easiest. And I say that very, very much the easiest of an extremely difficult, near impossible task.
We gotta work it out for us. Okay.
Although, if you could manage it, I'd be actually very impressed. You would technically be. You would technically be fulfilling the requirements needed to remove them from the city.
I'm just thinking, like, if one stayed and then redeemed themselves here, would remove all four, right?
Yes, you'd most likely have to have one remain behind and then redeem them from there, at which point they would be able to leave the city. Uh, I don't know if they would necessarily be in a position to want that, however, but it's not impossible by the simple fact that not a lot is impossible.
Right.
Anyway, if you are interested in listening to them, if you can get somebody especially sneaky, you might be able to gain some insight.
Yep. Yep. We'll have to dig into that.
Nobody will. Nobody can. Oh. How are you doing? Still going.
Okay.
What's up?
Okay. Guess we're done. We just need to go back and discuss our next steps.
Well, you know where to find me if you need me. Do summon me before you actually make a decision so I can support you if needed.
Is there any situation where you wouldn't support us?
I suppose if you turned against me. But for the most part.
Beans kill the angel.
I mean, I am mortal.
Biffle doesn't say that out loud. He thinks it to himself. Makes a face.
I am mortal. I can die. Once I do not know what would happen to me.
Hey, neither do we. We're on the club.
My sincerest hope is that I would return to the heavens. I just don't know if I would actually. I probably wouldn't be a celestial anymore, but merely another mortal soul that inhabits the whatever circle they go to. I would like to believe I've led a life that would bring me back to the gods themselves, and not an evil life that would take me down to the lower planes.
Mm-hmm.
Not that there's anybody I really can do much down here with, so. Except for you four. And the dog.
The Scooby-Doo gang enters a demonic competition. Right. So it's more a question who we're leaving behind. Well, let's go discuss it and see what happens. Thank you. Graham will go back to the room.
Tips fedora.
Graham is gonna walk into the middle of the room when we get back and just say out loud, I'm about to cast a spell that's going to fill this room and will tear you to shreds the entire time you're in here. So I know you're trying to eavesdrop under orders, but consider yourself under duress to scoot. And just kind of opens the door wider and stands to the side of it and just waits to see if anything invisible leaves.
Make a perception check at disadvantage.
I don't like disadvantage.
Can I?
Well, I could re-roll that.
Good.
I think only the one dice. I wouldn't re-roll both halves
Can
of
I
it.
listen for any fluttering out of there too? Disadvantage.
Yeah. Anybody would like, they can make a perception check at disadvantage.
Okay, so I still got a 9 because it was a disadvantage.
12.
12. Yeah, let me. If yeah, I mean Fiffle, but like he can roll as well at disadvantage.
Good. And that.
Yeah. If anything left, you are not sure.
Okay. So Graham is going to cast Spirit Guardians in the center of the room.
Okay.
They just kind of stand there radiating undead microwave energy.
You don't see anything change within the room itself.
Right. Close the door and
Usually happens.
Graham will kind of walk around the room with the Spirit Guardians up for the 10 minutes it lasts, and we can use that to try to talk.
Okay.
So, what are the 4 things they try to bribe us with? Chaos Blade, money.
Chaos Blade,
Life
access to
token.
hell for your wife, the mansion and wealth from the well-connected guy. Was the 4th ever brought up?
It was not.
Okay, so we don't know what our 4th option is.
Hank becomes a
I
permanent
think he
party
just said he
member.
wasn't gonna kill us and throw us in the lava. Was that the
I
fourth
think
one?
eventually he offered us the Chaos Blade.
Oh, okay.
It's not impossible that, like,
I mean, we technically could just make him stay and just take the Chaos Blade.
if he uses it against us in combat, I don't think there's any reason we wouldn't be able to just kill him and take it, but it sounds like that would be the hardest fight of them all.
It's Year from Baldur's Gate. Thoughts?
Very few.
Yeah.
I haven't slept right in like a month.
What is sleep?
I wanna.
Based off of like the personalities they showed, which one would you want to deal with?
Well, my inclination is deal with the demon and send the fiends home.
That's what I was thinking.
He is very powerful and dangerous, and he'd be stuck down here, which isn't great. You reckon we could figure out a way to get all of them banished? Maybe we could work with the college upstairs.
Abilities. Or really just a hall monitor.
Do we remember anything from like the singularity and possibly this whole thing?
If you would like to try and remember something for the singularity, make an intelligence check.
We're good at those.
Just flat intelligence.
I clicked it. I don't know
Nah.
if it's gonna show up.
Wow.
The memories of the singularity seem to have been rapidly like leaving your mind, especially as you were not actually meant to form a hive mind with people.
Friends don't let friends form hive minds.
You do remember that that Keegan left to go and do his own research and work, and that they had no further contact with him, however.
Do we know where he went to do the research? Was it down here in this area?
You didn't find out specifically, just that there was a lower level below that he was going to work on. that he and Crexon had gone to go do the research together.
All right, guys, I give up. Let's go home.
Yeah.
Use my teleport home potion. I'm bamboozled. I am truly bamboozled. On our way here, did we see anything that might have possibly been like a research station for these guys?
Make an yeah, hold on. Jeez Louise. Make a perception check.
Prestige.
Yeah. If you're trying to, places where research could be done, that was in this. Oh yeah, Fern, you actually do think that there's a really good place for all this infernal research to be done, and you were standing directly amongst it in the city here.
Ah, cool.
Wow.
This makes sense, actually. Let us go infernogating. Infernigations. Infernistigations. I don't know. It's in persuasion them. Let's go.
Okay.
Yeah, let's go figure that shit out.
All right.
Oh, I gotta take meds.
Look around.
Okay. If you would like to look around for an actual, what are you looking around for exactly?
Looking for wherever they might have kept research material based off of whoever summoned them there, because I would assume these guys are also possibly researching a way to maybe counteract this ritual.
Yeah. Make an investigation check.
Does anybody wish to assist me, the investigator?
Can I do a religion check to look for like demonology looking resources? Like maybe they have like an anvil of kicking demons in the dick or something because they're dwarves.
Yeah, you can do a religion check.
I'll help you investigate, Otto.
God damn it.
All right, let me use my 19 for my investigation.
Okay. Looking around the city, you can find, Graham. Looking around the city, you don't really see anything that would be indicative of religion. There seemed to be a lot that was kind of at one point put on to provide some sort of protection against infernal, but nothing that would have been religious in nature. It would look to be more arcane in nature.
Gotcha.
Otto, looking around, the city itself is primarily seems to have at one point supported a staff. You don't build a city for two people. It looks like whoever lived here at one point did do primarily just support, but you do eventually arrive at a larger kind of room that does look like it has a greater amount of arcane like runes around to a greater extent by a very, very high margin compared to every place else. This looks like it might be the actual center of the research.
Okay. Is it dated? Anything like specific that I could find a starting point?
As you open up inside, you find the room is kind of filled with bookshelves and sections of like the whole scrolls, as well as a large kind of arcane symbol in the center, and different various odd arcane devices that you can't identify that either hang from the ceiling or rest upon tables. However, also in the actual room itself, you find Zamak, who turns and looks at you. Ah, friends, welcome, enter. Have you come to speak to me?
Did we? No.
Do a little
We
fact finding,
yeah, a
but
little
not out of the
fact finding.
question.
Ah, interested in the actual ritual that brought us here, huh? I myself have been also investigating that. Unfortunately, the majority of it is not useful to you. Did you know it's all written in Infernal?
I
Jeez.
suppose that makes sense.
Yes. I've been studying it for the past few centuries to try and find a way around it. The actual summoning ritual gave out very quickly. In fact, it only lasted a few decades. It's that Crexon fellow who trapped us down here with his interesting little unique sort of caveat to it. I'd be impressed if I wasn't so angry.
Yeah.
Well, come, I have so much knowledge to give to you. If you can perhaps support me in our little disagreement with my colleagues.
It's not out of the question.
There's also certain other options available. I'm sure you've heard of the Celestial Azamar.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I was thinking to myself, it's not a tremendous difference between infernals, fiends, and celestials. Why must we stay if she can be the one to stay? I mean, what's she really offering you anyway?
Mm. It's something I've thought about, trying to keep the options open. But there are the folks upstairs we've got to worry about. You might be outside of that particular sphere of influence, but we're certainly not.
Well, they have certain rules they must follow. They can't particularly come down and you don't have to worry about your god kneecapping you in an unopportune time.
Hmm. I don't think she'd be best pleased with me either.
Well, I'm not familiar with the celestial in question, and my ability to discover information about her has been somewhat limited, so I couldn't say who she worked for exactly, or if they even care. I mean, let's be honest. Do you send a valued agent down to remain to observe people for 700 years? No. This is a punishment detail. What she did to earn it? Could not say.
And what about you? What's your story?
Oh, me? I'm a. Oh, how should I put this? I'm a man interested in knowledge. I desire knowledge of different things. I enjoy making deals. I can make a mean omelet if you're
I just
interested.
out of character, I would just want to say, is this Raphael?
No, actually,
No, no,
funny
I'm
enough,
just
I
saying.
specifically looked for Cambions and I did not choose any.
That's all. It's like it's Raphael.
Good old, good old Baldur's Gate. Ah, well, so we've heard offers from everybody else in terms of
Oh,
not leaving them behind. What about yourself?
Oh, well, I mean, I've got certain people adjusting various political situations to my benefit. For example, here on the material plane, certain going ons that I'm sure you're not particularly excited about, involving certain counts of certain Drindeerish cities. I could perhaps adjust the levers on various things to bring him to a more satisfying conclusion on your behalf. Um, or if you take up one of my colleagues' offers, I can ensure various allies in the infernal regions if you do desire to go down that way. I could perhaps adjust a lever to within the Feywilds to prevent certain hunting situations from occurring. Or you're after a various individual, I believe, who is brought you to this country of Viderheim, rides a giant dragon, deals with certain outsiders from different areas. Perhaps I could bring you to a location where you might determine more information about him. All these things can be yours.
So, there's going to be a catch no matter who we pick, and it's in your best interest that you're one of the ones we elect to send on. So, how are the others going to screw us over if we don't pick them? Or if we do pick them?
You're looking at this in a very limited way. And I don't mean that as an insult. It's simply it's a limiting factor for a lot of mortals. You're thinking we're going to screw you over. Really, what we're doing is offering a more open truth that to get something, you have to give up something. We're not screwing you over. We're merely acting as nature intended.
So, in your opinion, removing the Celestial from the conversation, who do you think would be the best person to stay and finish the ritual on your behalf?
Oh, that is a fun question. Yes, indeed. I suppose it's really... You know what? I shouldn't say this. That demon fellow, I've never been a big fan of his. And he wants to do something so foolish as to go back to the Blood War. Can you believe it?
I would think he would think long term instead of just immediate term.
He's a demon. They don't exactly have a lot going up in the old brain box there, now do they?
You said it. I only agree with you.
Oh, you...
Getting chummy with the fiends.
I was just...
My associates, devils... Oh, I'm sure you probably had some rough going on with us. Just for you, Mr... I'm sorry, Sir Otto Acustus. Not my work that did that for your village. That one was somebody who I am actually an enemy of, and I would not want to, cause any grief upon the material plane. No. People say... People call, they go up there, they cause trouble, and they leave. When in fact, it's actually very much more in our favor to simply provide a service. I mean, honestly, if you help me, the one who sent the ones to your village to raise it and steal the souls, I'm his adversary. You would be doing a disservice to him and a service to me to vote on my behalf.
And is there a name at the end of this?
Oh, there is, yes. And you will find that name out once you vote for me. I can get you the name of the actual Cambion that went up and did the deed. By the way, I should mention, you didn't actually kill him. You simply destroyed the physical form, which is already coalesced back in the lower planes. He's not happy with you.
There's a lot of people like that.
And
I'm going to let Otto steer for a bit. I'll be back in a little bit and probably completely useless for the remainder of the game.
And I have the name of his superior, the one who actually gave the order.
Ooh. And to send you back would get me both.
Oh, yes. Among many other things.
How long have you been adversaries?
Oh, how long has the crust of the earth been cooling?
Ooh, that's a long time.
It's funny to say that, yes, how long? An odd concept down in the lower planes, as it actually predates what you would call time and a real ability to measure it. You measure it by days, years. It predates the ability to actually do that. So needless to say, we're not going to be friends anytime soon.
I like this guy. Uh, mhm. You make quite the compelling argument.
I would hope so. I'm just glad you're having been able to have such a stimulating conversation. I must say, my associates, wonderful people. What people that I can have a conversation with, but there's only so much you can discuss with three others for, 700 years. It's actually rather stimulating talking to somebody new for once.
It is. It's the bonus of getting to travel, and you definitely want the freedom to do that again. I am sure.
Oh, yes. Yes, indeed. Okay, I have said my piece. I would
And I thank you
recommend,
for what you have shared.
and I thank you for listening. I'm glad we were able to come to a civilized conversation. The demon there, he's more interested in drooling than discussing.
Yeah, I can't disagree.
If you wish to discuss anything with my associates, please do so. We're very, very willing to come to a deal, a compromise, something that leaves all of us happy. Now, I know you've probably heard many things that say don't trust devils, but the fact of the matter is, with a contract with us, you know what you're getting, and we can just hammer out the details to both our benefit. There's no reason why we can't gain something from this, right?
Exactly.
Yes. Well, I'm glad that we were able to come to a agreement here, of some measure at least.
Hmm. I assume Matt is also back from his doom.
I don't know if Graham is
I don't
back,
know.
but he's letting you drive.
Yeah,
You
the last time he let me drive, there was a warehouse fire.
now that you've driven before.
I know. I've actually driven on the safe side of the road.
But yes, listen to what I have to say.
I'm sure everybody heard that too, so we can. So that's actually
Heard about your safe driving.
safe. No, no, not safe driving. The fiend. So there's two fiends now that have information on Otto's wife, the person who gave the go ahead, and his superior. Otto has two people that he already wants to send back. Okay. Is there anything else around here? Oh, the just like so those arcane symbols and all that around here. Do I recognize any?
Make an Arcana check.
I was gonna say, yeah. Hello. No, I'm gonna hit it again, so probably two will show up.
Okay, I'm seeing a 13.
Yep, that's what I see.
You're not able to really recognize these symbols. These arcanic symbols are very advanced. As you're looking at them, they actually are very well they're very well crafted, and they are extremely advanced formula that are outside of your ability to actually identify them. From your limited, you've had some measure of magical education, and this is probably something that would trip up even a very intelligent wizard. If you had to take a guess, it is most likely based around probably infernal summoning.
Okay.
And
Can I remember this symbol for later? Is this so distinct that I would not forget it?
this symbol's odd and interesting because it is what you'd expect, just like a kind of large symbol that has been not even just written down, but like actually carved into stone and then had molten like steel put into it. So it
Mhm.
remains as a actual physical shape. But as you're studying it, you notice that it carves down even further, and that there's kind of symbols within symbols that are very small. And you're able to like kind of peek in and see that even with those smaller symbols, there's additional symbols, and you're not able to determine if they go even lower than that, as whoever would have to do that would have to be able to put in something extremely thin and small, but it's very possible. You would be able to remember some of what you're seeing.
Okay. Very interesting. Cool. Don't think there's anything else for us here, right? We can't really read the Inferno stuff.
Yeah, it's any writing appears to be written in Infernal, making it difficult to actually determine what it says.
Interesting. Okay. I guess we'll thank our host here and head back and see about discussing our next steps. I was definitely thinking about this. Otto is now the main character.
So we're still deciding who to send where?
Yeah, so basically, were you here when I asked him? Is like, in his opinion, which of his, if we remove the Celestial, who would he have stay here? And he picked a demon.
The Celestial said that?
No, the Fiend,
Yeah, this was Zamak.
Zamak. Yeah.
He would be like the kind of
Different
older
fiend.
looking guy.
He's one of the four fiends.
Yep.
But he thinks we should leave the demon.
Yep.
The demon is one of the four fiends.
Yep. What? Yeah, he don't want. He just wants to go back to join the Blood War again.
Struggling with infernal nomenclature a bit here.
Yep. Fiends are the kind of overall like creatures from the lower planes. Devils are lawful evil. Demons are chaotic evil. And then there's other stuff that's like neutral evil.
See.
But if somebody says fiend, they just mean like the overall like person.
So the thing is, Otto, I don't think we should believe anything any of these guys says.
Well, this is true. But if you pose the question to all of them, you would see either they just pick each other in a circle, or they're teaming up on one.
Okay. Well, I guess it's worth asking the question.
But that's
We've only
two
asked
of
one
them
of
that
them,
know
right?
something about my wife and the whole hierarchy of what's going on down there. Also, I meant to ask, but I was so interested. I wanted to insight him when he said they were mortal enemies, but that's probably too late.
Yeah, at this point, well, I mean, you can go back and talk to him if you want.
Nah, I can use that actually for other things later.
Okay.
I guess we go back to our little fake in room.
All right. You head back to your the rooms you've been given.
Yeah.
Okay. So you arrive at the four kind of side by side, all right next to each other.
Yep. Can we tell the presence of anything here invisible?
Make a perception check at
Has it been
disadvantage.
10 minutes?
Yeah. You would have taken a couple minutes to get to and from, and also the actual conversation. So I'm pretty sure it took like 10 minutes.
Did you actually did you hear about that, the conversation? I don't know what part you stepped out on.
Did we learn anything concrete on anybody?
I asked him, if you remove the Celestial, which one of his like comrades would he have stay back, and he picked a demon. And then he also knows about my wife and the reporting order in the names. Though, and they're apparently enemies, though totally forgot about insight, but I also am thinking he could also be lying and they could actually be allies. And instead he'll send me to one of his enemies. We still have the other three to talk to, I guess.
Nobody perceives anything in the room.
Graham is gonna repeat his warning and then cast his spirits again.
Okay. You don't see anything happen beyond like the little ghostly figures floating around you.
Blendergram is on the move. You just hear like erratic flapping running away. Blendergram is a new fiend invention for getting rid of invisible enemies.
Yeah, you don't hear anything. So you're not sure if the room is empty or not, but you certainly don't hear anything or notice anything.
How tall is the roof?
It goes up. It's designed. It was made by dwarves, but it was designed to support even up to a Goliath. So it actually goes up about 12 feet.
Okay. So it would still be in my bubble of spirits, so they're not like hiding in the ceiling.
Yeah.
As far as I know.
While there might be corners of the room where your like kind of bubble doesn't reach, it does appear that the room is small enough that is not the case.
Okay.
So okay. What else? What else?
I have a thought about what might have happened with the Celestial. So we should ask what the demons and the demon and devils think her angle is.
Zamak did mention that he thinks that she is on a punishment detail, and this is meant to like, yeah, kick her out basically without actually being able to do that.
I wonder if there's a way to restore her memory.
Yeah, wouldn't with the Hugo's a dick arc, we discovered it was modify memory. Were we the ones able to lift that? Did like remove curse or dispel magic or something do that?
I believe your lesser restoration was responsible for that.
Okay. We should go back, and I'd like to ask her if she'd let me try casting that on her, because I have a paranoid hunch I'd like to follow, and it would help her get home too.
Look,
Sure.
Paranoia is never wrong. It's right 10 out of 10 times.
The secret is hypervigilance.
Exactly. Looks under the blanket.
Okay. You want to go back to talk to her?
Yeah.
All right. It's not too long. It takes about 5 minutes to get back to where her room is. You find yourself standing in front of the large stone door.
Graham will, I guess, drop his spell and knock again.
Okay. You hear the voice. Enter.
Graham goes in.
You've returned. Do you have more questions for me?
I wanted to try something with you with your permission. See, there was this fella named Hugo, and he was a jerk, but he was framed for a murder he didn't commit, and we found his memory had been modified. Now, this would be absolutely crazy, and I'm not even sure I believe it, but it's a possibility. What if what happened to the last people who came here was you got memory modified into believing you're on a punishment detail? What if you were the last one and they modified your memory twice?
I suppose it's not impossible. I don't believe so, as I do have memories of being here, but I suppose if my memories were modified, I wouldn't actually remember that.
I'd like to cast the same spell on you as I did that guy Hugo, because I'm not going to be dispelling a divine compulsion no matter what I do, but if it was a modified spell, I might be able to.
Are you thinking a lesser restoration spell?
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually quite capable of doing that myself. Have maintained my abilities to an extent, not to the greatest extent, but yes, if you would feel that would be useful, please go ahead. I won't stop you. I just
Graham will
don't
attempt
believe.
it.
Okay, you cast lesser restoration upon ML.
Hmm.
Can I watch for anything that might change?
Yes. Give me a perception check.
Okay. I thought it'd be like Arcana because it's like a magical like change.
Not in this case, no.
Okay.
You go ahead and cast lesser restoration. I feel no different. My memories remain the same. Limited though they may be. It was a good idea, an interesting thought to check. Perhaps I was always mortal. I suppose I'd be very disappointed if that were the case.
Kind of curious now because they're mortal now. Does maybe the memories are in the celestial body? Does that make
Yeah,
sense? Does that make sense to me in like in like a magical way? I have no idea.
Make a religion check.
Where are you? Boom, 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 boom. Hey,
This, yeah, going from a celestial to a mortal is something you've never heard of before. Um, the memories being stripped away could be a case of just they were in fact removed as a security measure. It could be a case that a celestial knowledge cannot exist in a mortal without it being like causing some detriment, and it might have been done for health reasons.
hmm
So this could be the fact that they were just left behind when the person was descended to a mortal. You're not quite capable of saying one way or another. Those are your two. Those are your two theories you've developed just based on the knowledge you have of religious nature.
Okay, that's basically. All right, guys, I give up. Let's go home.
Mhm.
Uh,
Still feel like we're being played with.
Well, I can
D&D,
assure
we're
you
always
you
played
are.
with. Hmm.
Can I do an insight, by the way, after casting the spell to see if there was any change?
Yes, go ahead.
Come on.
Can I do an
You,
insight on that or no?
yeah, if you'd like to.
I don't mind being wrong. It's that I go through all this and then the dice are just like, nah, even if you were right.
You didn't notice any change in her demeanor. Although, Otto, you actually seem to notice she looks a little disappointed.
Oh.
Well, we're disappointed for her too.
Well, thank you for indulging me.
Not at all. It was a good thing to check. I had cast lesser restoration upon myself several times over the time I've been here. Although I suppose it hasn't been done in quite some time. It's entirely possible that was simply something that I had thought. If your theory was correct, of course. I suppose in some way I wish that it were, so I could at least leave this place.
Hmm.
But
All right.
Let me try to remove curse just to try it.
Is
yes,
there
go
any?
ahead.
Well, he does that. Is there? Can I auto think about like? Is there anything that's more powerful that could do something like this for what we're trying to do?
Make an Arcana check.
I don't think there is, but here's hoping. Yeah, around 11.
Okay.
There are things that could possibly be more powerful. As far as you're aware, there's nothing more powerful than the gods themselves, but their ability to actually interact with the material plane is limited by the various rules they have with each other for both the good, neutral, and evil gods. very powerful entities that are not gods themselves, but are just extremely powerful, could possibly have some way to make alterations that would appear divine in nature, but might not necessarily be the case. But what those things are, you could not say for sure,
Okay, and she's been here 700 years too, right?
as far as you're aware.
I think there were summoned 700 years ago. What was this guy's name? The guy that summoned, I can't remember his name now.
Keegan?
Keegan. Was he
Yeah.
involved in possibly modifying memories and placing her here?
You don't really know too much about him beyond the fleeting memories that you remember from the actual singularity.
Did he ever give that god complex? Can I remember that?
You only really remember seeing him as a student, and then the few memories that remained in the singularity, you did not get any real idea of who he is or what his personality was like.
Okay, found it. Okay. And after that commercial break, back to Graham.
So I used up, I had some loose gems from some treasure that I used as the materials for casting Remove Curse. It's 50 GP's worth.
Okay. As you put Remove Curse, or you cast Remove Curse spell on her, I do not feel any change or difference. I suspect that this is not a curse. I do appreciate you spending the your limited resources upon me. I will do my best to reimburse you.
Well, cross that bridge when we come to it, but I'm thinking the demon might be the way to go.
I can only offer advice and answer questions. I cannot say one way or another who you should vote for to leave and who you should vote for to stay.
Let me ask you this. We asked one of them, I can't remember his name, sorry.
Zamak.
Zamak. Barring using you to cancel the ritual, who would they select? And they went with the demon.
It does seem to be the choice, especially as it would be 3 against 1, 3 devils versus a demon.
Would they actually turn on each other to make sure that they're not the one, though, and just give us a circular answer?
Yes, they would do it. The person they care about the most is themselves. If they had to have 1 leave and 3 stay behind, they would choose every time for them to for themselves to leave and for their others to stay. And it does not matter. Nothing would really change that as far as I can determine.
So if it was 2 demons and 2 fiends, they would choose the demons, and the demons would choose the fiends.
Well, they're all fiends, but
I mean, if we broke them up that way.
yes, the demons would choose the devils would choose the demons.
Okay.
But if it was 4 demons, or 4 devils, or just 4 generic fiends, they would each and every time vote in a way that would benefit themselves at the expense of the others.
It's good to know.
What's the safest outcome long term for the world, in your opinion?
Ooh, for my opinion. For the world, the demon would return to the Blood War, which is 100% lower planes currently. That would be the safest option. The other 3 have signs and desires within the material plane. So, safest for the material plane for you all would be to send the demon back and to trap the other 3 here. But you've spoken to Zamak the Smiler. They've all have these fun little nicknames for themselves that are a little too on the nose, I would say. But yes, the Smiler definitely would like to operate within the material plane. Tavron, he is an infernal commander. He already has goings on and dealing upon the material plane. And then, as for the last one, Sarkinza, she's the deal maker. She will certainly be a more neutral force as far as a fiend can go. Um, I believe she would probably be more interested in resuming just deals as she operates out of the lower planes with limited, but not zero, material plane contact.
I just want to out of character say I want to just send the I just want to send them back for more content.
Mhm.
So this,
Sorry, I had to do it for the vine.
I should also mention that the demon, he hasn't come up with his own nickname like the other three have. He was granted a title Master of Slaughter, so do keep that in mind.
Yeah. So that's even. Will the devils hang us out to dry?
Yes, each and every time.
So we would need to negotiate their defense of us against the demon as part of the agreement.
I would suspect yes. I would also recommend you talk to each of them individually, even the demon, as because they are so selfish, you may be able to position them all against each other, your benefit. But that is something that would be up to you. That is barely some advice I can offer.
I'm going to insight that just to continue to be best practices. Yeah. I don't know why I bother rolling dice.
Yeah, I'll help you insight. Boom,
Sure.
boom, boom, boom. Oh wow!
She apparently is telling the truth, as far as you can tell. She
The
is
dice
giving
want
you,
the ambiguity.
she is giving you advice that you believe that she believes is good.
All right. All right, guys. I give up. Let's go home.
Well,
Maybe called for
yeah.
today, and
We're over the 2 hour mark, so I would say let's end it here, and we will pick this up next time when you've had a little bit more time to think about it and decide what you want to do.
Yeah, I'm assuming we're gonna talk to the other three next time.